After the fall of Constantinople by the Ottoman, world trade from the east to west was thriving again through conventional silk routes, with one distinction: there was complete absence of Christian merchants. By large, the trading world was divided in three trading blocks: Buddhist China, Islamic Middle East and Africa, and the Christian Europe. The Buddhist bloc, along with India and the Far East, were the major producer and exporter to the Christian Europe. In between, Islamic bloc was the intermediary, and the Muslim merchants were controlling the trades completely with iron grip, both in land and sea. Over the years, Muslims created a big opaque wall between East and West. Christians' bloc trades were mostly facilitated and handled by city-states, which were governed by their respective merchant councils, having a large dedicated fighting force, particularly navy, to defend their commercial interests. Venice and Genoa were prominent maritime republics of the time and were often under conflict in the East Mediterranean, where Venice had the upper hand. The Genoese hinterland trade in France was severely hampered during the Hundred Years' Wars of England and France, and to compensate, Genoese engagement in Iberia started. They also ventured out in Atlantic trade to the north in Flanders to Antwerp, and in this way they formed a close relation with Portugal as Lisbon, which was emerging as an important import and route. Genoese finances, shipbuildings, industries, and trade partnership brought acceleration in outbound Atlantic sea trade of Portugal, both in the known north and in the unknown southern world of West African coasts. Christian blocs trade with the East was resulting in heavy drains of bullion as they didn't have appropriate products for exchange. The Muslim bloc adding hefty cost, and there was always threat of disruption and disturbances. Therefore, in those times, two campaigns were undergoing in Europe, particularly in Iberia. One is to find items for import substitution, and other is to find the alternative routes to East to completely bypass the Muslim trade bloc. In import substitution, sugar plantation associated with slave trade brought Portuguese a lucrative trade to survive and thrive. They also imported gold dust in exchange for horses, etc., in the newly found West African coast. Further, African pepper and other local produce was also offered to Europe as a cheap substitute of costly Indian spices. The commercial and crusades interest of the various eclectic orders under Portuguese crown further accelerated the quest of opening a direct maritime route to the east and making a block to Islamic world. Further, to decode the spice trade secret and to discover the land of the legendary, mighty and wealthy Christian king of East, John Preston, for alliance against Muslim, King George II of Portugal sent Pero de Covila and Afonso de Pavia to India as the undercover spies through conventional Muslim sea-come land route. Born at Seville, they were well versed in Arabic language and manners and can be easily disguised as Arab merchants. After the detailed briefing from the experts at Santarém, near Lisbon on May 7, 1487, they left for Naples via Barcelona, where bills were exchanged at Medici banks. They proceeded to Rhodes, where they bought honey for trade and sold to Alexandria. From here they moved to Cairo along the Nile River and further joined the land caravan for Port Sukan in Red Sea, ultimately sailing to Aden. It was monsoon time at Aden. They departed here, Covila to India and Pavia to Ethiopia, after agreeing to meet on a later date at Cairo. Covila, disguised as Arab merchant, took a dhow and reached Calicut, the hub of a spice trade. By 1488, he was in Goa and then to Hormuz by sea at the mouth of Persian Gulf, another hub for a spice trade. During the reconnaissance, Kovila recorded detailed information about sailing routes, winds, currents, ports, and politics. From Hormuz, he sailed down to the east coast of Africa and eventually to Sofala, the farthest point of Arab navigation in the southern Indian Ocean, where he investigated the feasibility of rounding Africa by sea and how best to navigate its east coast. By 1491, he returned to Cairo, having successfully scouted the major trade routes of the Indian Ocean. There he came to know about the death of Pavia in Ethiopia, and he also met the two Jews representatives sent by King John II as follow up. He briefed all the details to the Jews and again started for Ethiopia in search of John Prester as per King's order. After visiting Aden, Hormuz, and Mecca, he proceeded to Ethiopia, and there he met the Christian king Iskandar, who received him well and not allowed him to leave till his death in 1526. The details of Indian Ocean, along with a recommendation to sail deep south to the coast of Africa and the seas of Guinea to enter coastal eastern Africa, was well received at Portugal and might be utilized during the Vasco da Gama forthcoming visit in 1497.